Hmm. Let me ask you something then, Miss Halisair.
Yes.
As a witness to this specific deed against Mr. Hannick's character, I think that you would be a very valuable asset, witness for when we actually begin discussing the candidacy of the people that we are talking about. I anticipate that we will be holding some sort of lands meet in the near future where we will begin to determine the right person to become the new ruler of Ferelden, or even the new government of Ferelden. Would you be willing to swear upon the Maker about what you have just told me in order to present to the Landsmeet why Sevian might not be a suitable ruler?
Yes. Moreover, I would give you anything I can to help you bring him to justice.
He will nod. Very well. The Landsmeet has not been determined yet. However, as I said, if you come to New Dernerim, probably within the next couple of weeks or so, I might have a better answer for you.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you for informing me of this. It is definitely going to give me much to think about on my way back to New Denerim.
Thank you for hearing me out. It is good to know that my instinct in placing faith in you is well founded.
He smiles and says, "By the way, have you heard from Fergus recently?"
I have not. Not for a very long time. Have you?
"When was the last time you've spoken to him?"
Feels like years ago.
"I met him personally a few times. Last I heard, he joined the Grey Wardens when the Blight began, 7 years ago. I had not heard from him since. I know many of the Grey Wardens, as you know, died trying to defend this land from the Blight. But that is all the information that I know of Fergus's fate as of late."
Very well. Thank you.
"You're very welcome, Lady Halisair. May the Maker watch over your steps.
And yours as well.
Keep an eye on Mr. Ashwood for me.
Keep an eye on Mr. Hannick for me.
He will smile, and if you don't need anything else, he will take your leave."
Very well.
Meanwhile, while you're having this conversation, Connor is going to go up to Kenna, and he's going to say, "All right, I want to do a surprise for everybody. Can you help me?"
Oh, sure. What you thinking?
"Well, I'm thinking we should, with, Cedric becoming a full-fledged Templar, being one of the big boys now, meaning that he can officially, punish me if I really start acting up, which, we'll ignore that part. I think we need to celebrate with a small celebration. I saw a vendor down over there, this man who was selling some chocolates. We should buy some chocolate."
Okay, let's get. Does he like chocolate? Well, let's get chocolate.
Who doesn't like chocolate?
I don't know. Yeah, let's go get some, and we could go to the inn and get some drinks, and just have a party. Been a bit serious lately. We should.
"I would love to get some drinks," he says. Connor's like totally underage, by the way. But he's gonna say, "I would love to get some drinks." But yeah, do you say anything when he says, "I would love to get some drinks"? I don't know what the drinking age is for your clan. Maybe your drinking age is younger. I don't know. But I think. But anyway, you go over to this vendor. The vendor turns around and he says, "Kenna? Is that you?" It's Malcolm. It's Malcolm. He gives you a hug and he says, "What are you doing in Navarra? I thought you were all on your way to the Wending Wood."
I've been there, done that, on to the next. You know,
My,
never staying in one place too long.
you've been very busy. He turns to see Connor and says, "Oh, Malcolm, I didn't realize it was you. Sorry, we just came to buy some chocolates from you." "Oh, yes, yes," he says. "I just did some trading and was able to recently swap from some Orlesian candies for Navarran chocolate. The cocoa here is actually quite good. Gives a little bit of a nutty, toasty flavor."
We will take your word for it. You know, Malcolm, I've been spreading the word, telling everyone we come across.
"Have you really?"
Oh, yes.
He says.
Oh, yes.
"Splendid," he says. "I was thinking we need to merchandise properly. I was thinking perhaps if we were making, I don't know, buttons or posters or maybe even like a handkerchief or a t-shirt or something. I don't know."
Yeah, like a little card I could hand out to everyone. That would be great.
"I was actually coming up with a few designs," he says as he goes over and he pulls out like a small stack of cards. "And what do you think of these?" You look through some of them, and some of them are really super corny. Other ones are a little like boring, and then certain ones are like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty cool." Payne's Practical Products, and the artwork is horrible. Like he's not a very good drawer at all. What do you think? Any of these look promising?
They do look promising. Though, you know, we do have an artist in our group who could design a fancy label for you, maybe.
You have an artist?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to hire an artist, he
Maybe you
says.
two could do some collaborative work today. We're actually celebrating Cedric. He became a full-fledged Templar.
Really now? Oh, well then, he says, I'm going to have to offer him a drink then to celebrate.
I'm sure he'll appreciate it. I don't know what the inn's called, out of character. What do we know?
I think the inn that replaced it. Did I ever give a name for the inn that replaced it?
No, you haven't said.
Okay, we'll call it the geez, what should this one be? It's gonna be a little bit more trendy. So it's a bar. It's more of a upper class, higher scale bar called. We'll call it Afterlife.
Ooh.
Oh my, Mass Effect.
Yeah, exactly, like
Yeah.
Mass Effect. So there's an afterlife in Thedas, but it
Does the
fits with.
bartender try to poison you there as well?
I think that's Theo's job, right?
I think that's Theo's
Oh,
job.
yeah.
Are you the
I should
bartender?
get a job there.
It fits in Navarra. I think
Yeah.
it fits in Navarra. So we'll call it Afterlife. It's a tavern. And I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue what you're saying, Kenna.
Oh, I was just, so you should meet us there at Afterlife.
Is that new tavern that just opened up a few months ago?
I don't know, I'm not from here, but hopefully it's nice.
I hopefully I'll fit in there. He says, I think I'm a little old for that place. I think that's more for some of the younger crowd.
Oh, Malcolm, please, you're gorgeous.
He says, you are very sweet, Kenna. Very, very sweet. In that case, you came here for a reason. You said you wanted some chocolates?
I eat chocolate.
Well, we have a few items here that like I said, I just stocked up on. This one is a few chocolates dusted with coconut. This one here are actually filled with roasted hazelnuts and chestnuts. And then I have here a mix of half white chocolate and half dark. It's like you know how they have the those half, what do they call those? Like the half moon cakes, where it's like half of it is brown and the other half is white.
Oh, like the marble
looks-
cake thing?
Kind of, but it looks like that. It's basically a piece of chocolate, but like half of the piece, it's one piece, but half of it is white chocolate, the other half is dark chocolate. So that's what he has.
I don't
of
know what kind
Navarran
of chocolate
chocolates.
he wants. Connor, do you have any preference?
he looks through all of them and says, maybe could you perhaps box a sample of each into one? And Malcolm says, yes, I should be able to package those for you. And he'll go ahead and work it. And he'll say, I'll even give you a 10% discount. And Connor will says, that's very nice of you. And he'll go ahead and, pull out his wallet and he'll pay for the chocolate.
Oh, that's good because I'm broke.
Where is His Highness, by the way? Malcolm asks Kenna.
He's somewhere safe. I left him in the White Spire. I didn't think this would be a good place for him.
They will spoil him at the Spire.
Let's hope so.
Well then, he says. Let me go finish up with some of these other customers. There's a few other customers looking at his wares. It seems like business is actually quite booming over there. Let me attend to some of the other customers, and I'll see you at Afterlife, probably in a little bit past 8 or so.
Sounds good. I can't wait.
All right, so you guys will leave Malcolm, and by this point, Halasair will have finished her conversation with Sir Barris. Connor will come back, and he will ask Kenna, so do you want to yell surprise, or should I yell surprise?
We're doing it here in the necropolis. Shouldn't we go somewhere nicer, maybe?
Well, no, you're back in the town square.
Oh,
you're back in the town square.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think Malcolm would be selling. Selling his wares. No. I'm sorry. So you're back at the square. Malcolm is in the square selling his items. He's opened up his shop there.
That's so
his vendor
Navarra.
there.
Party of
That's
the
so
necropolis.
Come visit your dead loved ones and buy some of my wares while you're at it.
We should definitely do the surprise. At the bar, maybe.
At the bar?
Yeah.
That's perfect.
It should be nice. Should we get anything else? I feel like chocolates. Maybe. What goes with chocolates?
I've come up with something, he says, but I need time to finish it. Unfortunately, I don't think I'd be able to finish it by tonight.
Oh.
But if you have any other ideas.
Food, drink, chocolate, maybe some dancing. I don't know if Cedric dances.
Dancing? I like to dance.
Yeah?
Yeah. Do you like to dance?
Who doesn't like to dance? Everyone likes to dance.
I don't know. He says, you got to see some of the socials that we try to do over at the White Spire. Depending on, especially some of the younger preteen guys, the girls are on this side, the boys are on that side.
Well, that's because you're not drinking. Once you drink, everybody dances.
Yeah, drinking. Yes, I like drinking, he says.
Not too fast,
as cool as he
Connor.
can.
I won't tell anyone, don't worry. And I give him a wink.
I like you, Kenna. You are cool. I like you.
I am pretty cool.
I knew I picked the right person for this job.
You definitely did. Okay, well, I guess we could head back. Hark, do I see any, soil anywhere?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Totally. It's all over the place.
Okay. Okay. Why don't you go meet up with the group, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to look around real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you there then.
Cool. All right. Bye, Connor.
He gives you a wave and he smiles and then he leaves.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to go find some hidden patch of soil, maybe in an alleyway or something.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do my little make my berries. But I'm going to.
What flavors?
Lemon.
Mixture of what flavors?
All lemon.
Lemon. Oh, nice. Do you want them super sour?
Yeah, I want
just...
it to be super sour.
Okay. Like a Sour Patch Kids sour.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The sour, the better.
Okay.
I'm gonna make 4 of them.
Okay, sounds good.
And then I'm going to stick them in the chocolate.
Oh, you're gonna stick them in the chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay. So 4 pieces of the chocolate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then I'll go meet up with the group.
All right. So everybody's back at the group. Kenna has arrived back from her thing. And what's happening? It's the sun is almost set. The sun is going down.
Cedric's gonna want to talk to Hugh.
Okay.
Uh,
You can probably talk to Hugh while Halasair is having their conversation, and Connor and Kenna are doing their little surprise thing. Which means that leaves Andreia and Theoben. I don't know if they're gonna run into a conversation or they're just gonna go off. But we'll go to
sort of made up last time.
Oh, no, I don't know. It might still be awkward, or maybe it's not awkward. I don't know. Okay, Cedric, go ahead. How will you approach Hugh? What will you do?
Cedric's gonna casually approach Hugh and kind of like fold his arms in like a relaxed position and say, "So none of this is ringing any bells. You don't remember any of this?"
Hugh looks straight into your eyes, Cedric, and he says, "We need to talk."
Oh, okay.
Privately?
Okay. Sure. Lead the way.
Hugh will lead the way. You will follow Hugh. He actually goes a little bit further than you expected him to. He doesn't say a word. He appears to be in deep thought. You leave the town square a little bit, and then you go again right in front of the tavern where the soggy gravestone used to be. Cedric, there's something that you asked me about earlier that I told you before I didn't remember. Do you remember what you asked me?
Something about me meeting you in the bar at the soggy gravestone.
You didn't actually specify the soggy gravestone at the time.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Would that have jogged your memory?
It would have, he says. He says, something has been puzzling me for a very long time. I didn't want to say anything unless I knew for sure, or at least had more insight into why something was puzzling me. When you had asked me if we had met before in the tavern, I told you at the time that I don't remember.
Yes.
Now that you mention it, I do remember entering into a tavern that used to be here, called the Soggy Gravestone. When I went inside, I was looking for a job, an artist job,
Yes.
or painting the tavern.
So you do remember.
I do. I remember going up to the counter, asking for the job. I remember speaking to a woman there.
Yeah.
I asked for the job and she said that the position was filled. Someone came up to me and tried to defend me at the time.
I did what I thought was right in that certain situation.
I left the tavern that day, and I didn't see that person again after that. What I'm trying to say, Cedric, is the person who came up to me and tried to defend me at the tavern was not you.
Sorry?
The person who came to defend me was not you. It was somebody else.
What did they look like? Do you remember?
That is what I've been trying to remember. It's very hard because it happened a very long time ago.
That's strange because I remember doing it.
Cedric, I walked into that tavern looking for that job 27 years ago.
Cedric.
What?
Cedric's gonna like sit down, even if there's nowhere to sit. That he's just gonna like
Yeah.
sit down on the ground and just be like,
The reason I can't remember what the person looked like is because it's been so many years. I hardly even remembered that one instance, but coming back here, the memories started to jog back. I wish I could tell you what the person looked like, but I at least remembered that that person was not you 27 years ago.
if that was 27 years ago, how old are you?
I am just over 50 years old, Cedric.
What?
Do you want to get into a business together? Like, he says that like really awkwardly, like trying to like break the tension.
I do not understand.
You look really good for 50.
Thank you.
So, 27 years ago. I apologize if this brings up bad memories or something, but how long have you been, tranquil?
For a very long time.
I see.
More than 27 years.
Well, I don't want to pry in any of your business, because it's your business and yours alone.
Cedric, you know that I trust you, right?
Yes, and I trust you.
I did not originally think that it would be best for anyone for me to dwell on my past. However, given the circumstances, I can see you struggling with all of this information about the other Cedric Ashwood. I think that things might run clear if you understood everything that I have been through. That is, if you want to.
Are you saying you have more information on this other Cedric?
I don't know. I was trying to think about it on my own, but I don't know if the information that I am going to give you will help you figure out what's happening with you. If it does, of course I would tell you, but just know that you may not like all the information that I would reveal to you. It is your life, Cedric. I will leave it up to you.
Hugh, I don't know. Frankly, you're worrying me.
I'm not surprised. That's the kind of person you are.
I will listen to what you have to say. And know that I will try my best to fully understand.
It's a very long story, Cedric. And as I said, there will be many parts that will probably make you very uncomfortable. However, once I begin, I ask that you allow me to finish everything, because it is only in that way that I will truly be able to help you understand what's happening.
When you say uncomfortable, do you mean I will react poorly?
Perhaps. I don't know. I have watched you handle situations like that in the Dwarven magic school, and you seem to be taking it very well.
All right, Hugh. I'm gonna trust you implicitly, and he's gonna draw his halberd and his axe and toss it to the side, like far away from him.
Okay. Hugh will begin. You might want to get cozy. This is a long story. I was originally born in the Free Marches. Even at an early age, I developed a great appreciation for art and painting. My earliest works consisted of landscapes and various objects, like bowls of fruit. In my late teens, I attempted to branch out into portraits of people. Such things paid very well, for people are more interested in remembering loved ones other than objects. I had just finished painting my first big portrait of an old man I saw frequently at a park. A few days later, I woke up feeling very refreshed, finding out later that the man from the park had passed away in his sleep. I attended his funeral. 3 weeks after that, I was hired to paint the portrait of a carpenter. He was found dead in his workshop 3 days later, dying from unexplained causes. It was on that day that I felt particularly energetic. Another week after that, I was asked to paint a portrait of a lovely young lady who had just turned 16. It was for her 16th birthday. When I discovered that she too ended up dead the very next day, I immediately became anxious. I didn't notice it at first, but the coincidences were very eerie. In a panic, I traveled to Tevinter in hopes that I could find answers. I spent many months scouring resource after resource in the libraries. Finally, I discovered what I was. There were only 3 other recorded cases other than myself. I was an animum devorandum. You may be familiar with a common superstition that some people in this world possess, a superstition that makes them distrustful of having their portraits painted, in fear that it would steal their very soul. Every superstition comes from a real-life source, and this one was it. Of the other recorded cases, one was a painter like myself, another a sketcher, the final one a sculptor. By using the magic of art as their focus, they can effectively consume the souls of their subjects a few days later after completing their work. Hugh pauses at this moment just to see what Cedric's expression is when he tells him this.
Cedric's staring very intently at him, like almost like a super focus directly at his face to make sure he's not. I don't think he'd give off any like facial cues or anything, but
Fair enough.
like he'd be staring in his eyes, almost trying to judge like if this is real or not, and he's trying to like make sense of it.
Hugh continues talking. His eyes are still locked into yours, and he says, "As you can imagine, I was terrified of what I was. So much so that I decided to remain in Tevinter, knowing that as an apostate mage, I would be safest there. I promised myself I would never paint another portrait ever again. Several months passed, and I opened up a small studio in Tevinter. I made very few friends, but the few that I did have were very close to me. One was a woman who came to my studio to paint. She needed something to escape with, to keep her mind off of things, she claims. Often she would come into the studio with bruises on her arms. I asked her about it, and at first she said that she was a very clumsy person. But over time I realized that her husband was abusive to her. He drank a lot. For weeks I would tell her that she needed to tell someone, but she was too afraid. Finally, she did report her husband and notified the authorities. An investigation ensued. In the end, he was found innocent. Her husband was very influential in Tevinter, and he had a lot of wealth to hire the finest lawyers. Even when she died a few weeks later by accidentally tripping while doing chores outside and hitting her head against the well, no suspicions were raised. I thought it wasn't fair. She went through all the proper channels. She spoke out when something was wrong. But the system failed her. A week after her funeral, I went to her husband's estate and offered to paint his portrait free of charge. Months would pass. Tevinter is full of very corrupt people, full of people cheating the system. Lot of mages and non-mages alike get away with many things, the kind that only the observant, like an artist, would notice. But what could an artist do? What could he do when so many people in Tevinter were hurting, were suffering? I ended up taking matters in my own hands when the system itself failed to protect those that they said that they would. 7 people mysteriously died, one right after the other, many of whom were very corrupt officials amongst Tevinter. I told myself that I was doing a service. I told myself that I was doing good with my gifts. However, after doing it 7 times, by my own volition, it weighed heavily on my heart. I began drinking myself to make the pain go away. It was unbearable. I hated myself. I scared myself. I was afraid of myself. I was a monster. I fell into deep depression. Until one day, as I was down in the basement of my studio, I took out a canvas and painted my own portrait. I waited a few days later, but I did not die. One morning, I woke up and I felt different. I couldn't explain at the time, but I felt content. I realized that the magic of someone like me affects people like me differently. Instead of dying after a few days, my soul instead ended up becoming detached from the fade, and I essentially became tranquil. The first thing that happened was the logical part of me said that I needed to turn myself in. Even though I felt at the time that I was doing right to the people of Tevinter with what I had done, there were still 3 completely innocent people back where I came from, back in the free marches, who had lost their lives. Surely, somebody needed to be brought to justice. So I left Tevinter and went back to the free marches to turn myself in to the authorities. to tell them that the 3 people who died mysteriously were by my own hand. Obviously, they thought that I was mad, crazy. There was no way that they could prove or implicate me for the deaths of those 3 people. But I insisted on serving time. One man, however, whom I had never seen before, appeared and excused me from my punishment. He made arrangements to the family. One of the families was long gone. The one of the old man was long gone. There were no charges to press. The other family left Orlais and were never heard from again. The family of the 16-year-old girl, however, this man made arrangements and settled with them, paid them an exorbitant amount of money in order to settle the situation. Long story short, I was let go. As you can imagine, I was confused, not sure why this strange man that I had never met before wanted to free me from this, nor did I know exactly why he knew of the situation in the first place. He never gave me a real answer. All he said was in return, him or one member of his family needed something back for him. And I asked him what it was. He says, all I want from you is to make a painting for me. Not now, but when the time comes you will know. I said, very well then. I then moved to Navarra. I had just started settling in Navarra when I ended up entering into the Sagi gravestone, where I met that person that I told you about who defended me while I was looking for a job there. I stayed in Navarra for a number of years. Didn't hear from the man ever again until I had a visitor at my studio. I didn't recognize immediately at first, but to my surprise, it was Archon Rhodonis from Tevinter himself. Mr. Rhodonis was actually the son of the man that freed me from the jails in the Free Marches. I told Mr. Rhodonis that I was very surprised to see him there, and he told me that there was nothing to worry about. He was simply there because he wished to cash in on the promise that I had made to his late father, a painting, more specifically, a portrait. Of course, I was unsure of why he needed a portrait painted. Knowing, however, that I was cut off from the Fade, I would no longer be able to harm anyone by painting their portrait ever again. He managed to convince me there was no harm in having a portrait done. So I agreed. After all, I did make a promise, and I intended to keep the promises that I made. I went to visit a council that had many of the leaders around Thedas. Maximilian Sunworth, Empress Celine, King Marcus, or at least a representative of King Marcus. They were all having a council. I wasn't sure for what purpose, but they were all together in one room. Archon Rhodonis wanted me to paint a portrait of all of the congregation there. Again, I didn't really think much of it, but I did. Archon Rhodonis was not in the portrait. That set off some red flags. But, again, a promise was a promise. On hindsight, I should have thought about that more, but at the time I wasn't thinking completely about it. I finished the portrait, and I gave it to Archon Rhodonis. Weeks later, he approaches me again at my studio, saying that he wished to thank me very much for my services, and he wanted to reward me. He asked me, what would I say to him if he were to tell me that he could cure tranquility? I told him that is impossible. There is no cure for tranquility. He told me there is. And if I wanted it, he could award that to me. I told him that I would get back to him, that I needed some time to think about it. He said to let him know within the next 3 days. As soon as Archon Rhodonis left, I knew what he was planning. I was not as stupid as he might have thought. I knew that there was a connection between that and the portrait that I had painted. He believes that by making me untranquil, by turning me back from a tranquil to a non-tranquil, I would regain my powers, my curse. And within a few days, all leaders of Thedas would die. I left my house that night and found a ship who was looking for someone to paint the interior of their ship. It was leaving Navarra. I boarded that ship in order to escape away from the Archon. And that is when I met you, Cedric.
Cedric will he'll pause for like 2 minutes after Hugh finishes. Just trying to gather all of his thoughts from the story. So, anyone you painted before would die.
Yes. I would absorb their energy. It is what has been keeping me youthful for the last 30-some years.
And now, this Archon, he offered you to get your tranquility back, so all those leaders within that portrait will die.
There is a reason why I have been keeping a lot of this information secret, you understand, Cedric. Not only because of the lives of the people whose portrait I painted, but because in order to explain this fully to you, I needed to inform you that a cure for tranquility exists. Just the mere knowledge that such a cure exists, if this becomes public, you do realize the consequences of this. A Mage Templar war can erupt. Innocent lives would be shed. This was a secret I had to protect as much as possible.
I understand. The burden you're bearing, or you held onto, must have been immense.
It is strange, he says. I am, quote-unquote, tranquil, but I do not know how fully tranquil I actually am. I am not familiar with what the official rite of tranquility is in terms of what exactly the procedure is. There are moments when I feel... He stops when he says the word feel. That's the thing. Feel. There are moments when I remember a feeling. I do not fully know what the state of my tranquility actually is and how similar it is to those who are actually officially tranquil by the circle. At any rate, I do not know what to do at this point.
I assume by you running away from your home, you believe that this Archon can cure tranquility.
I believe he believes he can. I have to remain low while I'm here in Navarra. If you all ever decide to go to Tevinter, I think it best for me to stay behind. I do not want to risk the Archon finding me. If he does, then the lives of the great leaders of Thedas would be at stake.
I understand, Hugh. I understand that you were born with a gift that was
Curse.
a curse. That is all powerful, it seems, yet very frightening. I respect your decision and what you did, painting yourself. It must have taken a lot. I don't have any experience with dealing with those kinds of with that kind of magic. Obviously, you said it was very rare.
You have every right to fear magic, Cedric. That is why I kept myself away from people for a very long time. I tried to not interact with other people as much as possible. Frankly, I feel like they are more comfortable staying away from me anyway. When I first met you, you were the very first friend that I had made for a very long time.
I consider you a very close friend, Hugh. I am glad that you found the courage to tell me, even with our pasts. Even with our pasts and my profession. It just continues to show me that you have the utmost trust in me. And I am very appreciative of that.
He nods. I thank you for that as well.
Know that I do not judge you for those deaths. The accidental ones, or the ones that you did on purpose. For someone with that much power, it can change your mindset. And you gave it away.
I tried to, and I succeeded. But it looks like it could be temporarily. Cedric, you said that you trusted me, then I have to trust you as well. If anything were to happen, if, for whatever reason, there is a danger of me becoming untranquil again, you realize you will have to kill me before that happens.
I understand.
Good.
You have my word.
In the meantime, I will protect you for as long as I can. And help you determine what exactly is going on with you and this other Cedric.
Yes. I thank you for your further assistance.
Again, I do not know if anything of what I just said will help you towards that, but I thought that it would at least help to explain the circumstances of that time back at the soggy gravestone 30 years ago.
Yes, the time difference was a big help.
Should I tell everyone else?
Not tonight. Let's sleep on this.
I will trust your judgment, Cedric. My friend.
Cedric will reach out for like a handshake.
He'll shake it.
And don't worry, friend. We'll get through this.
He will nod. And with that, you guys can go back to the group.
Oh.
Told you. Sorry, I was told it was going to be long. Sorry about that.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Doggone it, Hugh.
When that music kicks in, I'm gonna start
Oh, no.
crying.
Oh, the music. Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot of music playing. I started out with the whole idea of there are people in the real world who's like, I don't want my picture taken. I don't want to have my picture taken because they actually do believe that your soul, part of your soul, gets taken.
Especially
Yeah.
when the camera first came out.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, really afraid.
Right.
It also made me think a bit of Dorian Gray, that whole story as well about the painting keeping his youth, and that if you looked at the painting, it would take his soul. Sort of thing. I got a bit of that kind of vibe from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted something that was, again, a very rare occurring, like, gift or curse, whatever you want to call it, similar to the Somniari, the Dreamers. I was going with that, but I wanted it to be completely different and new and fresh, and that's how I came up with that's really where Hugh's character started. Was I was trying to come up with, I started out with the idea of I wanted a person. I started out with a fun concept, thinking I want someone who fights as an artist with a paintbrush, and then I was like, well, what can I do to add some depth to his backstory? And then it just kind of spiraled downwards.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of depth.
Yeah, it's a lot of depth. And then for Cedric, it was, I might put this into the vlog. For Cedric, it was perfect because of his situation. Hugh is able to be 50 years old and still look the same, like, even at 50. So I was like, well, this is just perfect. This just makes it all super interesting.
Now Thomas, that's what I want to hear. Like,
Thomas.
Yeah, what happened to that guy?
what happened to Thomas? Oh, you mean Knight Captain Thomas? Oh, no.
I was going to say, Kevin, did you ever notice back in session 1, during the first act and a half of Cedric's acts, none of the NPCs ever called you by your name. Nobody ever called you Cedric. I purposely did that. You remember?
What?
Thinking back on it now, I'm like making that realization, but at the time,
Even your friend Thomas, he was like, "Hey man," or "Hey buddy."
Yeah.
He never actually said Cedric. Nobody ever called you by your name during the first act and a half.
Mind blown. What?
So,
I think somebody's going to be rewatching that now.
yes. I was hoping it's one of those things where as you're paranoid, as a DM you're paranoid. It's like, well, maybe they'll notice. It's like, why aren't you saying my name? But of course you guys don't notice. So
No.
you guys really don't notice until after
Just
the
you
fact.
being clever.
oh man, now I gotta.
Now you need to watch it while listening to Destiny's Child. Say my name, say my name.
So Hugh and Cedric just had this heart-to-heart talk, and now everybody's back together unless Kimberly and Theoben and Andreia are having a conversation while everybody else is having their own conversation with people. You don't have to.
I'd be like, so this is weird, right?
Are you referring to the thing with Cedric or the fact that we're alone?
Oh, we were just alone, like, well, I guess it was a week ago now, because we've been traveling, but we just had a talk. We said some stuff.
Yeah, stuff was said.
Yeah. Sure was. I was talking about Cedric, though.
Right. I don't know much about magic, but That is wit.
Well, I feel like I know enough to know I don't know anything, type of thing. It's magic. It makes its own rules. You can explain anything away by just saying, "Well, there was magic involved." So.
That seems like a convenient get out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what magic is. or get in, depending on what you're doing.
See, that's why I like poisons, because you have a formula, you create it, and it does what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, poison's interesting.
Yeah, it's surely no more dangerous than magic.
Oh, I hear that there might be a poison that can kill you kind of instantly. So I I think that's pretty dangerous. I hear. I don't know. I'm sure you know better than me. You are the expert.
The knowledge of such poisons is not commonly known. You must have a contact or something.
What?
Well, unless they have people that deal with poisons where you come from? Like, yes, there is a poison, but if common folk could either knew about it or could make it in the quantity, we'd be in real trouble. It tends to be poison experts.
So, let's just say I do know of someone who might have found, use of such poison. How expensive would that be? I'm just wondering how valuable such a thing would be, because it sounds pretty rare, right? Otherwise, everyone would be doing it.
This is his eyebrow. Who are you planning to kill?
I'm not planning on killing anyone. But... Okay. Alright, can you kind of keep a secret?
I've been known to, yes.
I sort of was given some.
You were given some poison.
Yes.
Why?
To assist in a job that I'm supposed to do.
Hang on a minute. Didn't you say you knew Kane?
Why are you asking me that? But yes, I know Kane. Yes, of course I know Kane.
It's not perchance that this is the fellow that's given you the poison.
Why would you ask me that?
Because I happen to know that he is in possession of that kind of poison.
How do you know that?
I hear things.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but Kane's kind of secretive about things like that. Why would you know?
Well, he's a friend of the dwarves. We bro out. What can I say?
I don't think he's a friend of many people. I think that's BS.
And I think you're not telling me everything.
Well, what if I told you he's not in possession of it anymore?
What if I told you that the poison he's in possession of, I may have had something to do with it?
All right. So, I think that you and I might be on the same page.
Possibly.
Okay.
So, alright, you know what? Maybe we should just stop BSing each other here. So Kane's given you a poison.
Yeah.
He's given you the poison. That I helped him make.
I presume. I can't imagine he's made too much of this stuff.
No, he needed my assistance to make it. Why has he given you the poison? seems kind of random.
Well, he's kind of hired me to do something, to get some things and some stuff, and he gave me the poison to not use.
Okay, nobody buys poisons from me to not use them. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not used to kill, essentially. Because if you don't use the whole thing, you understand that. Yeah. So not used to kill. That was. It's actually expressed by him, because the person I'm supposed to be taking an item off of, that's obviously, I don't know. I can't continue this. There's an item that I'm supposed to take, and I'm supposed to use the poison, but I'm not supposed to kill the guy, but I am supposed to use the poison, because it might be the easiest way, because he's pretty crafty. And smart.
I didn't have you pegged for someone that did that kind of work.
I don't know why he hired me. I don't know.
That's a good start.
To be honest, I might have BS'd myself a little bit and pretended like I was a little bit more cool than I was. So.
I won't tell anyone.
All right. I might have sold myself a little high, but the truth of the matter is, because he asked, "Can you do this?" and I was like, "Of course."
And you feel like it's a bit out of your depth?
I don't really want to do it, but I kind of have to.
You have to.
Yeah, because you remember, I told you about Trina and stuff, and
Yeah, I figured.
She will be free and safe and be able to walk again if I do this. But I don't really want to do it because, one, it's super dangerous, and two, I don't know, I can't tell you. I can't keep talking to you without telling you everything. This is very frustrating.
Well, I'm not telling anybody.
I'm supposed to rob Lealden.
No.
I know, and he's kind of like my hero. He's like the first Vashoth that's like a hero of the people, and I kind of really look up to him, and I'm supposed to rob him. And not just rob him, I'm supposed to take like his magic sword thing, the one that he shot lasers at the dragon with. That
and
one.
I'm sorry, when exactly did you have a death wish, Andreia? What are you thinking? There's no way you could do that.
I've survived like 12 years in a job. Most people don't last 12 minutes. I've sort of accepted that I'm already dead.
But this is dead. This isn't...
Well, that's why he gave me the poison. But I was told specifically that I shouldn't kill him, but because he's rather partial to him. But the truth of the matter is, I know that he doesn't really care so long as he gets the sword, because he's a little bit greedy and power hungry, and he really, really is a bit miffed, apparently, with these people. So
these people.
Yeah, like there's more. Oh God, I didn't say there's more. all four of the heroes of Relden.
Theo's just gonna drop his head and shake it.
I know, I don't know what to do. I've been freaking out about this for, I don't know, 2 weeks now, and
back to the death wish.
What about it?
Look, I have no doubt that you are a very skilled woman, but with all due respect, you will die.
Very likely, yes. That is probably going to happen.
So you're not going to save Trina anyway, because you're likely to die from the attempt.
Possibly. I was actually kind of hoping, stupid as this sounds, I was kind of hoping that maybe we could talk to Connor and maybe get Lealden to talk to me, and maybe Lealden would be nice enough to give us the sword.
And just hand you over a sword.
I don't know. He's like a hero, and you know, and you know, he wants to save lives, supposedly. And then if not, then I'll say, well, I tried. Have some wine, and I'll poison him. I don't know.
Best plan ever.
I'm sure he won't suspect me at all.
Joe looks very uncomfortable. He's just looking around. Have
I'm
something.
sure this mage can outrogue the rogue.
I can't. Either way, you talk to him, you know, maybe tell him what's going on. Who knows?
Okay.
He's even like the, you know, left hand of the divine and stuff, so he's supposed to be a good guy, right?
Uh-huh. Okay, stop talking.
Okay.
You're gonna use Quiet Death.
I'd really rather not.
Rob all 4 of the heroes of Ferelden.
Yeah, Kane didn't really think it through. He also gave me a great deal of money, to be honest.
Oh, why don't you say so?
It was a forward. I'm sure
That doesn't sound familiar to Theoben at all. A whole lot of money.
It was in advance for expenditures.
I worked in advance. You know what? That's not the point. That's a suicide mission.
Not if we ask him nicely, without poison, preferably.
And you plan on walking into Viscount's Keep and asking Maximilian to hand over his stuff?
Maybe leave him alone. I mean, I'm sure he's nice, but I don't really want to get.
Well, I'm sure if you talk to Hugh, you could take care of Maximilian really quick. But...
I don't want to give any of the heroes.
Too soon, Hart. Too soon.
Oh man.
So, yeah,
Too soon.
I would prefer not to kill any of the heroes of Ferelden. I mean, I was offered, you know, a way out afterwards, like a new identity and lots of money, and I would be happy. But let's get real, I'm probably not going to live long enough to do any of that.
I'm going to say that it's at this point in the conversation you'll be cut off because everybody's going to start to come back.
Okay.
So
Right.
if you want to continue, we might continue it later, but you're getting cut off right now because Connor and Kenna are coming back, and then Halasera's coming back, and Hugh and Cedric
So,
are coming back.
As he sees people approaching, I just go, we'll talk about this later. Okay?
Oh, thank you. Okay, we sure will.
Connor will join the group, and he has a pretty big smile on his face. Cedric's coming back, and he's got like a, oh boy, kind of look on his face. And...
Oh boy.
Typical Cedric face.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Theo just looks like he's been through an emotional journey.
Yeah.
The sun is setting. What happens?
Everyone looks like they could use a drink.
I so good.
Sounds right.
Yes, he says. I hear that there's a really amazing newly opened tavern bar over there called Afterlife. We should go. We should celebrate. You know, Cedric's new knighthood.
Who's saying this?
Connor does.
Cedric's gonna like shoot a look over at Connor and be like, "Aren't you really young?" Like that kind of like.
Not that young.
People his age are drinking in Orzammar all the time.
He's not a dwarf though.
We can pretend.
He's
Yeah.
very mature for his age.
Thank you, Kenna, Connor says proudly. So, shall we? He asks.
Yes. God,
Yes.
Tag along, but I don't really know if you should be drinking.
Connor will pretend he didn't hear that, and he will go right to Kenna and whisper at her, says, "It's all coming to plan."
gosh.
You guys will go over into the tavern. There's a lot. Again, the people here, it's relatively young, like more so people in their 20s, early 30s kind of vibe. There's a live band that's playing some live music, but it's like dance, like I wouldn't, whatever the medieval version of like club dance music is, whatever the medieval version of that is. It's very new age, modern for as far as Dragon Age standards are concerned. And it's a very happening place. There is a main bartender, a very, I would say a fairly relatively good-looking woman there, probably in her early 30s, and she's chewing something that you notice though at the tavern. But anyway, you guys will find a table, and there actually are a few Templar initiates. You notice in a corner right now, like passing drinks to everybody, and it's a little bit rowdy in that corner. That whole side looks very familiar to you, Cedric.
Yeah.
Like that whole initiate side looks familiar.
Yeah.
So, Connor says, as he has to sit down, how about we order some drinks? He turns over to Ken and says, do you think maybe you could order me something like some ale?
Yeah, do you think you could hand me some gold? Because I don't have any.
Yeah, of course. He passes you some gold under the table.
Okay, watch out, she's just gonna keep the gold.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go get everyone drinks. I'll get, ooh, I don't know what to get. I'll ask first what everyone wants.
Dwarven
And
ale.
Connor is asking for a pale ale.
Pale ale. I'm gonna write this down.
Dwarven ale. You want dwarven ale?
Yes.
Is anybody else getting anything specific?
Cedric's not gonna be drinking.
Party pooper.
Yeah.
Hallie will take his.
Yeah.
You'll have to fight me for it.
It's on.
I'm just gonna go with like a pale ale for you, Holly, yeah?
Whatever.
For you though.
Yeah, whatever.
That's so cute. She's actually writing down the order.
Pale ale's alright.
I am writing it down. I don't forget.
So cute.
And tonight's special is chicken wings. Does anyone want chicken wings?
It's making Connor's choice.
Hugh will say cider would be nice, unalcoholic, please. Cider,
Alright.
unalcoholic cider for Hugh.
Unalcoholic. Got it. I'll go and order those.
Okay.
I'm getting 3 pale ales, a dwarven ale, 2 fire waters, and unalcoholic cider.
Ken, you will approach the tavern, and the woman goes up to you, and she's chewing something, and she says, "Well, Harry, there, lady. I've never seen you around these parts."
No, you wouldn't. I'm new.
Ah, she says, "What can I do for you, you pretty thing?" She asks.
I need a lot of drinks.